Hello, Andrew here from the JavaScript Bard, where I introduce you to interesting and practical tools and techniques that you can implement on both the client side and server side of your JavaScript web applications. Today, we're going to be building a simple contact form so that users can visit your page, fill out the form, and it'll shoot the contents of that form directly to your email. Now, we're going to be using two main NPM modules to accomplish this. The first is called Express.js, and that's simply going to set up an Express scaffolding for us so that we don't need to handle any routing or anything like that. It'll just all be built right for us and we can get straight to work on the form. The second tool we're going to be using is called NodeMailer, and what that's going to do is implement the server-side functionality of our contact form. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I have a brand new project started here. I have called it NodeMailer Demo, as you can see, and we're just going to go ahead and open up our terminal and get started right here. First thing we need to do is we need to run npm init, and this is going to create a package.json file for us. Just leave all those settings as default, it doesn't really matter. Alright, we should have a package.json file. Look at that, we sure do. Alright. And now what I want to do is I want to install Express, but I'm going to be using, like I said, I'm going to be using a scaffolding tool called Express.js. So I'm just going to run npx express-generator. And we'll let this install. Alright, and we should have a bunch of good stuff in here now. Look at that, we've got our Express app. So I'm going to go ahead and open up app.js. We've got two routes defined. We have index.js and users.js. We can just get rid of users. We're not going to be using that. And we'll also get rid of it in app.js as well. Alright. And you can run npm start to start the app, but I'm using a tool called Nodemon, but either way, it doesn't matter. Nodemon is just nice because it restarts the server for us. Module not found. It probably has to do with... I have to run npm install. My bad. npm install is going to install all the node modules for us. There we go. Now we can either run npm start or nodemon. Alright, and if I go to my browser and navigate to localhost port 3000, you can see I have my Express app here. Very nice. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do is we're going to create the form in our view and just get all that HTML and stuff out of the way, except we're going to be using Pug in this case, or I believe this comes with Jade, either way. So I'm going to go to views, index.jade, and bear with me while I fill out the form here. So the form is going to take a method, which is going to be post, and an action, which is going to take us to /contact. Okay, this is going to take us to that route. We're going to have to add that later. Don't let me forget. Inside our form, let's have a label. This label is going to be for name. And an input. ID is name. That will associate the label with our input element. Name is going to be name, and that's what's going to be the key in the response body when we post this form to the server. And we're going to say type is text. I don't think we need a type on that. Never mind. We're keeping things super simple here today. And then last but not least, we need an input element with the type of submit. So input type equals submit. And I kind of messed up here. Instead of an input, let's have a text area. So that'll allow the user to add a lot more text. You'll see in a second here. So we're already importing this template in right here, where it says index router, and so there we go, we have our form. It doesn't look very pretty yet, so I'm going to add some styles, all right? So in public, in style sheets and style.css. Now I'm not seeing our labels. Why not? Probably because we don't have any text after them, so this will just be like your name. This will be your email, and this will be comments. Okay. Alright, so I've gone ahead and added some styles here so it makes it look a little bit prettier. Let me refresh. It's a little bit prettier. Alright, now let's get to work on actually submitting this form. So, in app.js, in order to get the body of the form that we submit, we need a separate node module called body parser. So I'm going to go ahead and install that right now. Let's kill the server. npm install body-parser. Alright, and in order to use this, at the top of the file, before we declare any routes, we're just going to say app.use body parser. Oops, we have to import it, don't forget. So body parser equals require body parser app.use body parser .url encoded, and we're just going to say extended false. And we also need to say app.use body parser .json, and this is going to parse the body of our form into JSON, and it'll make it nice and pretty for us, all right? So, let's declare a post route down here. app.post /contact, because remember, the action on our form will redirect us to the contact route, right? So we want to say /contact, and when we post, that's going to take a callback function. It takes the request and the response as parameters, and I just want to log it to the console and make sure we're getting the body correctly. So let's say console.log request.body, right? Now let's see, back in here, let's type in my name, my email, and just a comment. And submit. Oops, I didn't start the server. We need to start the server. I am really having a hard cannot read property use of undefined. Oh, we need to require use after we actually declare it, right? Because it's middleware. Alright, so let's try Andrew, my email, and just a comment. Submit. And if I go back here, you can see I'm getting the contents of the form right here. So perfect, so that's working. We can get rid of that console.log. And we'll say const username is equal to request.body.name. Const user email is equal to request.body.email. And const user message is equal to request.body, and what did I call it again? I called it message. So request.body.message. All right. And now inside of this post route, we want to use NodeMailer. So we have not installed NodeMailer yet. We need to do that. Let's kill the server. npm install NodeMailer. And let's require it up top. And now we're ready to use NodeMailer in our application. So there's a couple things that we need to do here. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to set a NodeMailer transport. Now, don't worry about the logistics behind this. Just take my word for it, and you can set up your configurations however you want. You can just feel free to copy my code. I'll leave a code snippet down in the description if you want to copy that. So in our post route, we'll say let transporter. And that's going to equal NodeMailer.create transport. And this takes an object. So the host, we're using Gmail for our host, and you can do the same if you like. The host is going to be smtp.gmail.com. Since we're using SMTP, we need our port to be 465. We're going to say secure true. And authorization. So authorization is an object. And it's going to take the username of the Gmail account that we're using to send our email, as well as the password of the Gmail account that we're using to send our email. So this is sensitive information. Normally, in development, I would use this in an environment variable. In production, I would hash this and stick it in a database. But just for simplicity here, I'm going to be using my email and the password I'm going to blur. So the username is going to be andrew.hickman.dev@gmail.com. So again, you would provide your own credentials in that, and I would definitely not recommend putting your credentials right in here in app.js. At least use an environment variable, please. All right, so after we declare our transporter, we need to set the mail options, right? So we'll say let mail options equal from our email and typically when you're sending a contact form, you want to send it to your email, right? So I have another Gmail that I'll use to send the email to, just for simplicity's sake. So we're going to say to the subject of our message is going to be, let's use the username in this. So the subject, let's use a template literal, and we'll say username sent you a message. And it takes one final property called HTML, and this is going to be the body of the email. So again, I'll just use a template literal, and we will say, oops, I forgot a comma here. Inside our template literal, we will say user name user email and message user message. And let's just say email here and name right here so that we can distinguish those. All right. Again, very simple. All right, and last but not least, after we've created our transport and then set our mail options, we want to send the transporter, right? So after our mail options, we're going to say transporter.send mail. We will pass it our mail options, and it takes an error, which we will not be doing any error handling in this video, but I encourage you to implement it. We'll do a little bit of error handling. If error, we'll say return console.log error. There we go. We'll do a little error handling. And then if not, we will just say console.log message sent and info.message ID and info.response. Again, don't really worry about the logistics here. I just encourage you to include this code in there. All right. And then last but not least, we will say response.send and then response.end. And this will get us out of our post route. All right. So I think we're ready to test out this form. So let's do it. We have a little error here. Let's see what that's all about. I have to start my server. I am notorious for killing my server and not starting it again. I'm absolutely notorious for that. All right, once the server's gotten going there, we will navigate to our index route. Type in my name. Let's make up a name. I'm Stephanie. And my email is stephanie@foobar.com. And I'll say, hey, I like your form. All right, we'll go ahead and submit. It takes us to the contact route, which we have not set a template for, so it's just a blank page. So you'll typically want to, once you navigate to this route, you'll want to set a template and display some friendly message to your user saying, hey, your message was sent. But if I navigate to my Gmail, nothing happened and it said username and password not accepted. Okay, so Google has this concept called less secure apps, and it's off by default. So if you have not configured your Gmail to allow less secure apps, then NodeMailer is going to throw this error. So what I need to do is I need to go into my Google account, and under less secure app access, I need to allow that. And now, if I go back and try out the form again, Stephanie@foobar.com, and hi, I love your contact form. Submit, and now that we've allowed less secure apps in our Gmail, I can navigate to my other Gmail account, and look at that, it went through beautifully, except for my subject here. It's because I put a pound instead of a $sign for that variable interpolation, so that's just an easy fix. I can just go back here and change that to a $sign, and that'll fix that error in the subject. And there you have it. Your very own contact form, and it went through, and it's working perfectly. See how ridiculously easy that was? No problem at all. And now you can create your own contact form and host it on any platform that'll let you host Express applications. Thank you so much for watching today. And if you found this helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Until next time, take care.